Welcome to my newest project. I don't think there's a need for introductions. Most of you probably know who I am by now. This project is a stair tread and riser installation project. This is an introduction as far as what you will need, tools and materials. I'm going to try to make it quick and get right through each piece. There'll be more information about them during the stair and tread installation. So first thing we need are our treads. I ordered these treads pre-made, pre-finished. You can get the types of treads you want. There's plenty of places to get them, plenty of resources online, and plenty to pick from. The next piece is the riser. The risers I also ordered. I might recommend that people do not order these. I did. I kind of regret it. I could have purchased a piece of underlayment, which these appear to be, or two sheets, even for $16 or so, and probably saved myself about 170 bucks over having these pre-cut, pre-primed pieces. And that's a lot of money for just a little bit of work I could have done myself. A piece of underlayment, or whatever you might need for your shims, and they're going to vary per project as far as thickness goes, but there's a very good chance you're going to need some shims, and that's what I'm going to be using on my project. As far as tools go, you need a miter saw. You're going to want a sliding miter saw. Either a 10 or 12 inch blade miter saw will do the job. I have a 12 inch and I'm using a 96 inch carbide tipped blade for this project. It's a good blade for this project. It's a good, provides a good cut on this type of wood. I will say this, you notice the tape on all of my pieces of wood is because anytime I'm cutting a finished piece of wood like this, I'm always going to tape it down first and draw my line on the tape and cut it there. It protects from chipping and splintering and will provide you a much nicer end result. Definitely something you could do. You might want to do. Other tools that we have, there's a table saw. There's some stuff stacked on the table saw, but the table saw, the purpose of that is if you're going to be doing longer cuts, say you need to cut the back, you're going to use a table saw. These side cuts are what you're going to do here on the miter saw. Moving along, I also have a circular saw. This is used in my project anyway to cut the bullnose off of the existing stair treads. Not much to mention on the blade because it does not need to be a nice cut, it just needs to be cut. I'll move right from there to the chisel and hammer. This type of chisel is a nice chisel because not only does it have the chisel on the front, which you would strike with the hammer here, but it also has a flat edge here. So on the stairs from up above, you could chisel like this. Keeps your fingers out of the way, keeps your knuckles from getting messed up as you're chipping. Really nice way to go as far as that is, as far as the chisel goes. Having said that, my existing stair risers were actually built in to the sides of the steps, so they went in from the edge about that far. So once I cut off the bullnose, chiseled it out, I ended up with holes on either side, which we'll see on the project. I bought a 1-inch dowel. I cut off slices of it, the thickness or close to the thickness or depth of those holes, then fasten those in using a finishing nail. Try to keep them just a little bit under, then we could put a smooth bit of drywall mud or some other type of product as a filler, and you won't have to worry about it cracking from being too thick. So this came in really handy. I'll go right to the nail gun. Nail gun's real important. I used it for what I just mentioned as far as putting the dowels in, the pieces of dowel in. And then also, once the stairs go down, the risers or the treads, once you apply the adhesive, you're going to put in maybe 4 finishing nails in each step. They go in low. They're very hard to see. If you want, you could cover them up with just a tiny little bit of wood putty, and they should be next to invisible. This is battery operated Ryobi, and you could select from a couple of different types of nails for your project, and it seems to work really well. I'm going to kind of keep trying to go in order. Since I mentioned one thing, I'll mention another that's related to it. This is the drywall mud that I used to fill over the holes from the dowel. Just a smooth coat, and then from that point you can sand it right down. You either use a hand sanding block, which works just fine because you're only putting a thin coat of mud on there, or an oscillating tool such as this one with a triangular sanding pad on it. Made the job really nice. It went in, didn't hit other parts of the stairwell and mess anything up as I was doing what I needed to with the mud. You're also going to need a square. Square is very important if your steps are square. I used a speed square. You might want to use a different type of square, like a sliding square. Will give you a longer line. I like the speed square, and then I just had to pick it up from there as far as drawing the rest of my line. A lot of people might use Stair Doctor to get their angles. Most walls aren't going to be straight. Mine were pretty square because of the type of construction on the house. But you would basically put this against the existing riser, this piece here, and then you can adjust this to the side. And once you have adjusted down, you can lock it in place, and you have your angle to transfer onto your wood. Again, most people are going to use, say, a Stair Doctor or one of those similar tools. They're about $100, and for something I'm only going to use once, I just didn't see, I just couldn't see purchasing it. I love buying tools, but not for something that I'm going to use once at that price. A rubber mallet, very important. You want these steps to be very tight. Not overly tight. I mean, you don't want to have to be scratching up the sides of your stairs too much, putting them in, but you want them to be tight, and you're going to need a rubber mallet to get them in place. So, moving right along, an extension cord. An extension cord is important because things like the oscillating tool, things like this, the saw that are used going up or down the steps, depending on the direction you travel, the cords are very short, and you're going to need an extension cord. I have here a paint tray and a roller and some white paint. This is what I use to paint my risers. If you're using oak risers, pre-finished risers, different types of risers, you may not need this. But using the white risers, and they came primed, I had to put several coats. I went with 4 coats, 4 or 5. I wanted some real nice coverage over there because they're going to get kicked, scuffed until we make the decision to put the runner down all the way down the stairs. And until then, we want to be able to make sure that they can be wiped off pretty easily. So that was a pretty simple part of the job and pretty simple tools to go with it. Painter's tape, great for the cutting, great for other things you may need to do when you are doing a touch-up on the existing stairwell. There might be they might get nicked up. They might already be nicked up, most likely, if your house is any age at all. And they might get more nicked up from putting the stair risers and treads in place. So, we're just about there. At this point, we're going to go to the caulk. I went with a Loctite This is a urethane or polyurethane based product as opposed to a water based product. That is something that you definitely want to use in this product. You do not want to use water based. I have to just very quickly check out my camera. With the caulk, I used a Loctite polyurethane or urethane based product. You don't want to use water based on this specific product. You want a urethane based product. Loctite is quality stuff, and you need about 1 10-ounce tube per tread and riser. So each step you need about a 10-ounce tube, give or take. These are the larger tubes. These are about 28 ounces, so close to three 10-ounce tubes in each of these. So I've got 5. Because I bought these larger tubes, I didn't have a gun, so I had to buy the larger gun, which is about $9 at Home Depot. Big price savings on going with the larger tubes, so much that I could still buy the gun and all of these tubes, and there was still a $20 savings over just buying 15 10-ounce tubes and using my existing gun. As I mentioned, here is the table saw. Pretty standard. Any do-it-yourselfer is going to know most of what you need to know when it comes to that. And wrapping it up here will be just a couple of items. Safety goggles, dust mask, and gloves. Safety goggles are a must. When you work with power tools, things can be flying. You want to protect your eyes. I had eye surgery recently, so I extra want to protect my eyes because I just invested a lot of money in them. Dust mask, especially while you're cutting. You don't have to wear it the whole time, but you definitely want it while you're cutting. And gloves can go a long way in protecting your hands when you're using a chisel, or a lot of other parts of this project could put you at a point where you wished you had gloves on. So if you wear them, you're going to put yourself in a better position, and you might as well grab a pen and paper before you start the job, because you're probably going to need to write down a measurement. You're going to need to write something down at some point during the job. Having this handy is just going to put you in a better place. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to head in. I'm going to start this stair install, and I'm going to see you real soon. Thanks again for stopping by and checking out one of my projects, and we will see you very soon.